What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another multi-battle league video. Today I'm walking you guys through the team that we used, Marcus and I used to take on Team Leeki. And unfortunately, as you may have guessed by the very one-sidedness of this video so far, Marcus is not here. He's super busy right now, like incredibly busy, and we haven't had a lot of time to do multi-battle stuff, but also, yeah, he's just not in town right now, so I'm recording this one on my own, sorry. So basically, we're going up against Team Leeki, and this isn't the best way of doing things, but this is their team. This is just from the week 1 preview slides that Harvey sent me. So, as you can see, they have Necrozma, Mega Gyarados, Sylveon, Mega Beedrill, Abomasnow, Rhyperior, Rotom Frost, Magmar, Electabuzz, and Ambipom. So, looking at this team, Heatran obviously looks really strong because of their ice Pokemon, but we did have to watch out for Gyarados to some extent and Rhyperior to some extent. And also having redirection in general was kind of threatening. We don't really know what Necrozma does here because I don't know what Necrozma is. Yeah, so when we looked at this match, we figured, yeah, probably not Mega Beedrill, maybe some combination of like Necrozma, Mega Gyarados, Abomasnow, Rhyperior, and then 2 more like Rotom Frost, Magmar maybe, I don't know, Sylveon, Ambipom, any of those guys could come. So it was tough to cover because we weren't sure what they were going to do. We weren't sure if they were going to focus on countering our Trick Room option or if they were going to maybe do some other kind of setup. So we thought, looking at this team, we're going to start with the lead. So we thought that Bronzong was a really solid pick here. If you look at their team, they're really, like, it 4 times resists Necrozma, it resists Sylveon, it resists Abomasnow, it resists Rotom's iced coverage, it is immune to Rhyperior's ground type attacks, it resists rock type attacks, and only really Gyarados is threatening to it. So in terms of setting up, we thought Bronzong was a really solid option. Z, Trick Room, Psychium Z with Trick Room gives an accuracy boost. So if you go with Trick Room and you use the Z move, your Hypnosis becomes, I believe, 100% accurate. It might be some other kind of value a little bit below 100, but it's essentially 100% accurate. So that's why we did that. The EVs, I don't remember why. This is something to do with Gyarados' crunch. I don't remember why I did it. I think I was like, oh yeah, like Bronzong doesn't take a lot of, like, he resists all the special attacks anyway, so like let's make him physically bulky. Not sure that was the best idea, but that's okay. Sunny Days here for 2 reasons. Number 1, Abomasnow and Rotom is obviously a strong Hail mode, and also they have Gyarados, so Sun is good in that case, but it also offensively boosts Heatran's attacks. So yeah, so that's it. So the lead with Bronzong here is Scrafty, and this might not make a ton of sense because we've got a eject button with Bulk Up. But the idea here is the plan was lead Bronzong, lead Scrafty, go fake out Trick Room turn 1, get Trick Room up, and then go Hypnosis and start attacking with Scrafty, and that lets us, once they attack Scrafty, which inevitably they will, that will let us get in our Heatran, and I like Heatran and Trick Room with next to Hypnosis Bronzong because there's really, like, only really Rhyperior wants to take an Eruption, maybe Gyarados as well. But with Z-Grass on Heatran, which we'll come to in a second, with Z-Grass on Heatran, like, there's nothing really that, like, loves taking multiple Eruptions, especially in the sun, thanks to Sunny Day. So, because Eruption's just such a strong move, we wanted to make sure we got Heatran in at full HP, and so that's why we have Eject Button. But the idea here is, like, let the Scrafty take a little bit of damage, but not too much, and then come back in the late game with Bulk Up, because Bulk Up Scrafty with some special defense EVs, if like, other than Sylveon, it can Drain Punch Abomasnow, can Drain Punch Rotom, it's super effective on Rhyperior, super effective on Mega Gyarados, and it can knock off the E-Violites on these 2, it hits Necrozma for super effective, and Ambipom for super effective. So with defense boosts, and special defensive EVs, we figured it could be pretty strong. This also pairs well with Dino, which we'll get to later. Yeah, so that's why we had Bulk Up. I think it was actually a really cool strategy, to be honest. So, yeah, that's Scrafty. EVs, max HP. I don't remember what the special defense does. I actually have no idea. I don't remember what I did. But then we had a little bit left. The defense was, I don't remember what the defense does either. But at some point, I was like, Marcus, we have like this many EVs left. So do you want them in bulk or do you want them in attack? And he was like, I want them in attack. So yeah, so we did that. Anyway, the next part of this core is, so Scrafty, Bronzong lead, fake out Trick Room turn 1, start launching Hypnosises. Again, with Tapu Fini, if Misty surges up, we can't really Hypnosis very well, so that's part of why we want Fini in the back here, because we only want Fini in after we're done going Hypnosis stuff. So this is Heatran. EVs are just completely random because we didn't have a lot of time. I mean, not random, but just like standard. We didn't EV for anything on the defensive side. Maybe we could have. Anyway, we thought Gracium Z was pretty strong here. I think I've already mentioned, but if you look at their team, doesn't like to take Eruption, doesn't like to take Eruption, don't like to take Eruptions. These guys can take Eruptions okay, especially Magmar, but it can't really threaten that much in return unless they go for, like, Hard Ground or Earthquake. I don't even know if Magmar learns Earthquake. But yeah, this guy can't take Eruption. So really, it's Gyarados and Rhyperior who are okay taking Eruptions, and we just thought the Gracium Z Solar Beam was pretty strong. Let's just, like, hit Rhyperior and Gyarados even in Hail, which is a possibility, or if we don't get Sun Up. And because this is a best of 1 game, it's not like if we're threatening eruption damage every turn, I think there's a good chance that they don't like they don't play defensive, because like protecting their Rhyperior means their partner probably takes an eruption, or same with Gyarados. So unless they get both in at the same time, in which case we can just Hypnosis the Rhyperior and Solar Beam the Gyarados anyway, it's pretty solid. But this Solar Beam is obviously better against Gyarados if it Mega Evolves, which they don't have to do. But we do hope that if it comes down to it, they will Mega Evolve their Gyarados so we can Solar Beam it. Again, this team was built kind of last minute. We actually played this match the day after we played versus Team Not Scald, so we hadn't prepared for Leeki before we played Not Scald, so yeah, so we didn't have a lot of time to prepare. Anyway, next up is Zapdos, because that's what I decided. Tailwind, Heat Wave, Thunderbolt, Roost. I said Hidden Power Fire, but Marcus saw Heat Wave is better. Because I forgot Zapdos got Heat Wave. Anyway, yeah, Tailwind, Roost, Thunderbolt, Heat Wave. Defensive Zapdos with Misty Seed. Misty Seed raises the special defense in Misty Terrain. So the idea here is that Zapdos is just like other than Rhyperior, they do have stuff that threatens it, like a Abomasnow and Rotom Frost, but with a special defense boost and with Scrafty's Intimidate, Zapdos becomes like incredibly bulky, and fortunately, it can ignore its 2 Pokemon that are fire attacks that ignore redirection. So Tailwind we thought was pretty solid here, because Heatran is, even though it's like it's slow, or it's Scrafty, but even though Heatran is slow, it's still gonna be faster than most of their stuff / all of their stuff. And Tailwind, which is pretty important. Thunderbolt is important to get rid of Gyarados, because we only really have Heatran's Grassy MZ, and I guess Scrafty with Drain Punch, but if they're careful, they don't need to risk it. So yeah, just super bulky Zapdos here. We thought it was solid. Roost to make sure we stay alive, Tailwind for speed control, Heat Wave to hit the ice types, and just Heat Wave and Thunderbolt offers good coverage, except for Rhyperior. Obviously, Rhyperior is a big problem versus these two, and Sylveon's not super threatened by this stuff either. But it's just like a solid mon, and if we play like Zapdos, the idea here is bring Zapdos in the late game, so that in the early game we can just mess things up with Bronzong Heatran, and while they're focusing on that, they're not thinking about Zapdos in the back. Yeah, and then just bring it in the late game and then profit. That's the plan. Anyway, yeah. Okay, next up we have. What do you guys want next? Let's do Audino, because that's important. So we have this is the first time we've brought Audino. We didn't bring it last week. And we're bringing it into Zygarde, like in terms of our 6 best mons our 6 highest tier mons are these 5 in Zygarde. So we're choosing to leave Zygarde on the bench here, but we will have in Team Preview just to bluff, because of the dual ice types, because of Intimidate from Gyarados, because of Sylveon. Just every single thing here is not super threatening to Zygarde. Or super friendly to Zygarde. He doesn't really threaten anything. So, I don't remember what these EV spreads do, what this EV spread does on Audino either. But the idea here is that we dropped Mega Audino, and I was like, you know what? We're relying a lot on Heatran and Trick Room, and so like, what if Bronzong goes down early game when like we need to sweep late game? And so we figured that if they brought Trick Room counters, they would lead with them. Like if they have a taunt Pokemon, they're probably gonna lead it. And so even if Bronzong gets taunted, having a secondary Trick Room setter, like, Z Trick Room ignores taunt, by the way, which is helpful. But yeah, having a secondary Trick Room setter that's like really bulky, it just offers really good team support. We thought was really solid. So this is the Audino set: Trick Room, Heal Pulse, Simple Beam, and Flamethrower. Heal Pulse is really solid here. The idea here is that Audino Scrafty actually does like super well, because you can Heal Pulse Scrafty while it sets up, but you can also Simple Beam. And as you'll notice, 94 speed is below Scrafty and Tapu Fini as well. Just a little preview, it has Calm Mind. So the idea here is that with Simple Beam, Audino can Trick Room, get Trick Room up, be bulky, support the team, and Simple Beam plus Calm Mind or Simple Beam plus Bulk Up is going to make both these Pokemon really, really bulky. Especially considering how bulky they already naturally are. Like, they're hard enough to take out on their own, but with +2 attack and +2 defense, or +2 special attack, +2 special defense from one move, it becomes like a lot more threatening. Scrafty can heal itself with Drain Punch, but having Heal Pulse as well is really nice. I think Simple Beam was also useful. There are situations where Simple Beam could be helpful, like against the opponent. Like if we wanted to overwrite, we'd probably just flame through that. But like overwriting Sylveon was the big one. Like being able to take away Pixelate in case we were threatened by Hyper Voice was pretty good. And then okay, we were actually thinking about Grass Knot on this slot, because as I mentioned, Rhyperior and Gyarados are the 2 big counters to Zapdos. But I don't remember why, but we decided on Flamethrower. We were like, yeah, Grass Knot or Flamethrower, and we were like, and then we were like, probably Flamethrower. So we brought Flamethrower here. I'm not sure why. It also, Flamethrower is nice because you can Flamethrower your Heatran, but I don't anticipate that happening very often. Yeah, and then EVs, I don't remember what they do, but they're probably solid. And then lastly, we have Tapu Fini, Protect, Moonblast, Calm Mind, and Muddy Water. So I don't remember what these EVs do either. Yeah, I actually have zero idea. It might. Yeah, I actually have no idea. yeah. Anyway, Tapu Fini is solid here. Calm Mind, Moonblast, Muddy Water. So as you can see, it's just like it's like they don't have amazing ways of getting rid of it. Obviously, both the Bulbasaur and Rotom threaten it, but other than that, I guess Electabuzz. I don't really know what Electabuzz does. I don't know what its offensive stats are, but Tapu Fini we just thought was a solid late game mon. It's not amazing here, but it's able to threaten Rhyperior. It's kind of like it's not threatened by either of Gyarados' Mega Gyarados' stabs, so that's a solid option. And after some boosts, it can do well. I am a little bit worried about Muddy Water because I just genuinely hate Muddy Water a lot. But I think it should be okay, honestly. In the match, but yeah, Tapu Fini, like I feel like the main focus on this team is Heatran, and then Zapdos and Tapu Fini are kind of like they're like the reserves, right? Where like once we kind of do enough damage to their offensive mons, or just in general do enough damage in the early game with Heatran, we're focusing a lot around Heatran. Having Tapu Fini come in and just threaten a lot of stuff is good because it's so bulky, especially with Ladino. Like if they lack the offensive pressure to get rid of it, it can sit and boost. And like even though Tapu Fini at +0 isn't necessarily threatening, if you get to like +2 or +4, it's really threatening. So yeah, with all that in mind, that's the team. We are going to bring Zygarde as a bluff, and I don't remember what the other one that we're bringing as a bluff is, but we're going to figure it out. Yeah, so that's the team. I'm sorry that it's not. I'm sorry that I don't know more about the EV spreads. But yeah, like it's definitely like Team Leeki is like I think a really underrated team, and they have so many options with the Pokemon they have. So yeah, like they're not a team to underestimate, I don't think, and they did really well week 1 as well. So the only other thing to note, guys, is so Marcus, as I mentioned, is like incredibly busy right now, and he forgot that so I don't have the battle for Leeki versus Dream Ball, and he does, but he's out of town, and actually his whole family is out of town, so I don't know if it's going to go up tomorrow. I would like for it to go up, but if it doesn't go up tomorrow, now if you watch this video, you do know why. It's because Marcus is out of town and it's on his computer back home, but we'll get it up as soon as possible. He's going to try and talk to either his parents or maybe somebody else who's around who can upload the video, and then we can go from there. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoy the match tomorrow, and I will see you next time. Peace.